Hello and welcome to this third video that we're going to do here. It's just going to be a follow-on from the last one, which is about Chinese water dragons. So we're just going to follow on from that. That one was a very basic video. This is going to go more in depth about the dietary, housing, substrate, and also heating requirements of Chinese water dragons. So we'll talk about that, and we'll also have a look at Buddy again. I'm going to explain to you a bit more about his life, his background. You saw him in the last video, so you can see him. I'll bring him out again so you can see him again, and we'll just explain to you about what he's been through throughout his 17 years as well. So what we'll do is we'll just start off as we go on, just talk about the dietary requirements of Chinese water dragons. Now, like most reptile species, they're omnivorous, first of all, so what that means is they eat meat and veg. Chinese water dragons, though, tend to not eat the veg so much, whether it's captivity or whether it's out in the wild. They tend to eat more of the meat, or insects. So kind of insects that they will eat are brown crickets, so that's a good staple for their diet. Alternatively, you can actually use locusts, so that's also a good one. Treats for them are considered calci worms, silkworms, mealworms, and waxworms. Now, waxworms, to give you a good idea, are kind of like chocolate to them. They will eat them and eat them and actually become addicted to them. Buddy, in previous years, at one point I could not get him off of the waxworms. That's all he would eat. So be very careful if you do get a Chinese water dragon. Be very careful if you offer waxworms. Try and minimize that, maybe just one or two a week, because as I say, they can become very addictive to them. Also, other treats can be mice pinkies. They will eat them. Again, that's a treat as well. Buddy, he tends to eat Dubai roaches. Now, that's a good staple now. That's something that's been incorporated within the last few years. They do have a hard shell, so what I would say is I wouldn't feed them to a young Chinese water dragon because in terms of digestion, they have a hard shell to try and break down and digest. But because Buddy's as an adult one, he's an adult water dragon, he can digest that. He'll take 2, 3, 4 of those. I will dust him with calcium to make sure he gets the goodness, and he'll take them no problem at all. I mentioned calcium there. When it comes to your live food, very important to gut load them so that the goodness, the nutrients, the vitamins is passed on to your reptile, to your water dragon. So calcium, I tend to dust over the live food. Also, there's vitamin supplements that you can dust over as well. You can dust over the gut loading food. A lot of the vitamin supplements contain D3. If you feel that your reptile, that your water dragon is not getting enough of the, shall we say, the UV from the UV tube, if they're lacking in that to try and help the metabolic within their system there, to help their bones, then definitely there's a lot of vitamin supplements that contain D3, and that will help with their bones, help their joints, to make sure there's no underlying problems going on with your water dragon. So yeah, that's pretty much the diet really. As I say, gut loading is very important, and when it comes to gut loading, I tend to stick with going with wild rocket, spinach, apple, sweet potato, butternut squash. Good way to start. There's also gut loading products on the market. You can get these in the larger stores or in your local reptile store, and you can put them in to gut load your live food. I say it's very important you do that. Whenever you buy live food, I would gut load first there for 12 hours, and then you can pass on to your water dragon. So that's pretty much the diet really taken care of, right? As I say, The best ones to stick closest to for your staple diet is your brown crickets, the locusts, and Dubai roaches as they get older. That's probably the ones I would stick closest to. You can offer things like veg to them. Very rare that they'll take them, as I said, but you can offer, you know, wild rocket, spinach. You can offer apple. You can offer even strawberries. Buddy has taken them, has been known to take them in previous years. Not so much now he's older, but you can offer that there. Whether they take or not is another story. They're not very common to actually take the veg or fruit, shall we say, as well. The next part is where we're going to go into housing. So the enclosure. Now, because water dragons are kind of like a cousin to your green iguanas, they do require a larger enclosure, and also being an arboreal species where they require to climb, they do require height in the enclosure. So the best rule of thumb is to have an enclosure that is 4 foot high by 2 foot by 2 foot as well. Probably what I would say is I would go more 4 by 4 foot by 2 foot. That's probably a better range, really, actually. So you've got the 4 foot in width, 4 foot in height, and 2 foot in depth, because you're going to need to incorporate some decoration within your tank, or vivarium, I should say, actually. So, but yeah, probably 4 foot high, 4 foot wide, and 2 foot in depth. That's the best rule of thumb for that. Buddy, you know, doesn't have a 4 foot high vivarium. He used to have one, but due to his age and due to just a couple of ailments now, like he doesn't have a height requirement for his tank. He doesn't require the climbing now. He's an old man now, so I'm going to show you his enclosure during this video, actually, so it gives you an idea for decoration as well. Like, you know, but when you look at your water dragons, bear in mind that you will need the height, because they love to climb. They love to climb, and they spend the time up on a branch, up in trees, out in the wild, up in high bushes. So what I'm going to do is now, actually, I will show you Buddy's enclosure, actually. We'll do that now, actually. I will show you that. So bear with me for a second and I will show you that. As you can see here, this is Buddy's tank, vivarium, I should say. Now, as you can see here, he's at the front. So, do beg your pardon here about the camera work. I'm just going to gently open the glass because he's got his head resting against it, as you can see. Hello, Buddy. Now, as I said, he doesn't require the height because he actually has a dislocated leg, unfortunately. Actually, I'm doing that wrong there, sorry. I'm just going to pop him onto the carpet. Right. Now, yes, as I said, unfortunately, Buddy does have a dislocated leg. It's this one here. What happened is that when Buddy was young, I'm just going to pop him back on here onto the tank. When he was young, just going to move that as well. When he was young, he jumped at the glass in his previous tank, which was 4 foot high. Went straight at the glass and he fell downwards and he broke his pelvis, unfortunately. Took him to the vets and he got medication to help with pain. But at that point, veterinary services for reptiles and exotics wasn't as experienced or as well known back then. So what I had to do was I had to put him to a tank that restricted his climbing to allow the pelvis to heal over the period of time. Which it did, and then he went back into a 4-foot tank where he was able to climb for a good number of years, believe it or not, with a kind of dislocated leg there. So, isn't that right, buddy? Yeah. As you can see, still a mess around the jowls. But what we was going to do was explain about his enclosure. So, as you can see, he has a rock in here. Really helps with his claws, keeping that down, keeping them nice and sharp. There's plants in here to try and help simulate what the wild will be like. Your enclosure can be totally different. This is just mine, how it's been decorated for Buddy. His requirements are very minimal now. As you can see here, just going to close this side. This is his water bowl. Now this serves a couple of functions. Firstly, obviously he drinks in it, he bathes in it, and here's the other thing, he defecates in it as well. So when you do have a Chinese water dragon, and you do need a bowl like this to help them bathe, something like this so they can actually bathe, but you will have to change it regularly because of the fact they do defecate in their water. As you see, I have a water pump, also filter, so that kind of helps actually regarding the water, though I still need to change it on a regular basis. It helps stimulate his desire to actually drink from the water, also helps with the cleaning a little bit as well, and also helps with humidity, which we shall come to. As you can see, the substrate that I am using is cocoa husk. There, cocoa husk. Very good actually for helping with humidity. Humidity is really important when you have a Chinese water dragon. They come from a very humid, hot area in northern Asia, so it's important that they do have that humidity. To help with that, what can be done to help with humidity is actually using one of these. You can get them from any garden centre, a sprayer, just fill up from the tap and allow it to settle for over 12 hours and then spray. And that will help. As you see, it will moisten the substrate and help with humidity. So that's that there. There are other substrates you can use, like sort of bark chip and soil as well. What I would say, the bark chips do not help with the humidity as much as cocoa husk do, in my opinion. Now, everyone's opinion will differ, but in my opinion, cocoa husk has been the best way forward in terms of helping with humidity. Soil, you can use that again, same thing, spraying that, but it does tend to create mold, so you need to keep on top of that, because that can then create a problem with itself in terms of parasites. So that's why I go with the cocoa husk. It's very easy to change, it's very easy to help with humidity. Also another thing as well, it's not too bad as well if accidentally ingested by your water dragon. They can actually pass it as well, whereas bark chips, not so much. It's very dangerous there. Just popping that back in. You may have noticed as well, I've got this bamboo bridge. This is Buddy's help to get into the bowl, we see, because now he is an old man and does have difficulty in terms of climbing. This bridge was built actually by my father to help him get into his bowl, and this is something that Buddy has greatly used, and it has been a lifesaver for him. As I say, he is old now, 17 years of age, with his dislocated leg. You know, so this has been a great bit of ingenuity done by my dad. So little shout out to him. and I'm just going to try and see if I can get the bulbs in there now. You notice on this side, that is a ceramic bulb. That helps with heating, more especially during the night when the basking bulb, which I'll show you in a second or two here, goes out. This will help keep the temperature up about 80 degrees Fahrenheit there. Underneath, I do apologise about the fingers, there is the UV bulb. This is a T5 UV bulb. Now, there are two types of UV bulbs. There's T5 and T8. This sounds a bit like jargon, I know it is, but the main difference is that a T5 you will get 12 months use out of, whereas a T8 is 6 months, and also there's a difference in diameter in terms of the size. But this one's a T5, excellent, you know, so you can keep it there for 12 months. I'm just going to close this side and show you the basking bulb. So be careful with your eyes. Here we are, there's a basking bulb. Nice big 150 watt basking bulb that is providing lots of heat for body there. The temperatures that you'll be looking for your enclosure is between 90 and 95 degrees Fahrenheit during the day. Now, I would strongly urge to invest in a thermometer and hygrometer. There is actually one on the market that's a combo of the two. It's an Enclosure one. By no means am I endorsing any particular brand, but there is one, as I say, there's that one in the market that serves a dual function, because you will need to test, make sure that temperatures are there or thereabouts. What I would say is it doesn't have to be spot on. It doesn't have to be spot on. Some people say, oh, you need to be bang on, and no, you don't. As long as you're close to, you know, because it is difficult to try and get that temperature. Humidity needs to be around about 80%. If you're close to that, you know, or over that, that's great. You know, so as long as you're getting there or thereabouts, you'll be fine. That is, you know, as long as it's not, you know, too much lower. As long as it's close, perfect. But too much lower, then you need to work on it and make sure you're getting the sensors for your basking bulb, and also ceramic bulbs if you put one in there and in the right position, because obviously it's the sensors that are picking up the heat. You'll use equipment for these bulbs, like, so for the basking bulb you're probably using a dimmer, a dimming stat, which I will show you in a second or two, and for the ceramic bulb you'll be using a pulse proportional stat. So I will show you those equipment in a moment or two there. So as I say, this is Buddy's enclosure. This is a 4 foot by 2 by 2 actually, that I mentioned at the start of the video there, but you'll be looking at when about a 4 foot by 4 foot by 2 foot. So what I'm going to do is I'll go back to Buddy in a second here. So let's have a look at the equipment here for your lights. So this one here is for the ceramic bulb, and as I mentioned, a pulse proportional thermostat. I'm actually just going to turn it up a little bit actually, because it's not quite there, but this is what you require. You cannot use a dimming thermostat for a ceramic bulb or a normal mat stat. It has to be a pulse proportional, sending the signal to that bulb. As you can see, the power button and the heat fluctuates there. This is what you require. This one here in the middle is the actual starter for the UV bulb. I do apologise, a little bit grubby, but I've had it for many years, still in good working order. And this is what you require to help power your UV bulb. It's an Arcadia. They're the main source of your starters, but there are other brands, again not endorsing any particular brand. This one here, that's upside down, but again it's a dimming thermostat for the basking bulb, and that is quite high, as you can see, because we need the temperature on that bulb to be very high. Now I use timers on these here for the bulbs to go out. Here we go here. These are my timers that I use. I have a 12-hour on, 12-hour off system. So they come on at 8 o'clock in the morning, go off at 8 o'clock at night. So 12 hours of sunlight, 12 hours of nighttime. So that's the equipment there. So yeah, expect your electricity bill just to be a little bit higher if you have a Chinese water dragon. So I've got Buddy here, just resting on top of his vivarium. As I say, there's his leg there that's been bothersome throughout the years, but he's not in pain, which is a good thing. He's not in pain with it, it's just dislocated. He, throughout the years, had definitely been through the wars. Before I acquired him, he was in a tank, unfortunately, that was with a larger water dragon, and it caused the end of his tail to be damaged. Just put that in, just see the tips there. It was damaged, unfortunately, so he lost the tip of his tail. And last year, he had to visit the vets because he had an abscess. Just gonna, there we go, Buddy. Just underneath, had this like golf ball like size abscess in there, and thankfully the vets that deal with him, they removed that, no bother at all. He was put under an anaesthetic, which it is kind of dangerous. It is dangerous for reptiles. The stronger though your reptile, the better they'll come through it, and he come through it no problem at all. He's very, very laid back. Very, very used to being handled. And there we go, there's Buddy here. He's done quite a few home moves as well. 8 in total of them actually were done together. 8 home moves. Never flinched, never been bothered. Probably actually we'll do a video at some point about helping with home moves actually with your reptiles, because there are ways that you can help make it as smooth as possible for them. But certainly he's certainly been through a bit in his life. He's a widower as well, 3 times over. I mentioned that in the last video. So he had 3 companions. The first one of which he had for a couple of years, and then he had 2 together. Sadly, they passed on for various reasons. One of the biggest killers amongst reptiles is respiratory infection. Unfortunately, when they begin showing signs of respiratory infection, it's normally too late, unfortunately. Happens to snakes, happens to these guys. And when, as I say, when they start showing the signs, it's hard to bring them back. It really is hard. But the key is keeping your enclosure clean, keeping it at the right temperatures, close to, as I said there, close to the temperatures. Now, I'm just going to pop him back in his enclosure, just down here, so that he's, there we go. Just going to shut the glass there so it keeps the temperature in. Right, so cleaning I just mentioned there is really important. So yeah, it's best to do a deep thorough clean every 4 weeks. Every 4 weeks. Now, when it comes to cleaning, don't use your usual household products because there's chemicals inside them which these guys cannot deal with. Best thing to do is to go to your local shops, or the bigger ones there, and get yourself a disinfectant. Not endorsing any brand. There's loads of different types of disinfectant. They are chemical free, they are specifically made for these guys there, and they are highly effective in killing, just going to bring that again, in killing salmonella, which can unfortunately happen if you don't clean enclosures there regularly. They're free from dyes and perfumes, which again, another thing as well, when you have reptiles, snakes, is that if you are smothered in aftershave or perfume, don't go handling your pets, because you're going to kill them. They cannot deal with the smell of that there. Even things like when you're cleaning your house, if you're spraying Febreze around your place, don't direct it at the tanks. I understand that sometimes we need to keep our homes clean, and I do as well. I keep my place clean. Keep any aerosols away from the tanks. So yeah, just getting back to this disinfectant, use these, spray on, wipe down with some kitchen roll or cloth. It's up to you how you do your enclosure. I mean, I actually have like a pond liner on the bottom of the vivarium. That's protecting the actual wood on the vivarium, because unfortunately, like, obviously it's a wooden vivarium, so if you can consistently getting that wet, it will warp eventually. So best way of preventing that, I got myself a pond liner, lined it with that there, and it's easy then to get out the substrate, which is the cocoa husk that I've got there. Remove that out, then I can spray all around with my disinfectant, give that thorough clean up the sides, underneath, everywhere, the glass, the whole lot. You spray, use that there on everything to get clean, and then replace with new cocoa husk, bark chips, whatever you're going to use. So yeah, so that is about the cleaning side of things and the housing, and we've covered the substrate as well, which is good. So we've done that there already. The heating side of things, just want to get back to that there. It's very important that you use Basking Bulbs. Again, not endorsing any particular brands. It's best that you use a high strength Basking Bulb for Chinese water dragons. As I say, because they come from a high humidity, high temperature environment. So I use a 150 watt bulb. There are many different brands on the market, trial and error. I will not endorse any particular brand on my channel, but as I say, high strength is important. So just to make it clear, because unfortunately I have actually known people to use ordinary bulbs as basking bulbs. Yeah, please don't do it. Please don't do that. They need a special basking bulb that you get from the larger pet stores or your local pet stores. Try and go local. Keep the business local, especially right now during these trying times. So what I'll do right now, on the screen, I'm actually going to put up some pictures of enclosures, vivariums that are on the market that you could look at there. I'll just pop them on right now as I'm speaking, so you can have a quick look at them. They are available on various organisations, at various online shops, online traders. The prices vary, but you're probably going to be looking at around about a maximum of £200 for a 4 foot by 4 foot by 2 foot vivarium. Sometimes you can get lucky in terms of a deal, but so just right now you see those pictures there. Okay, so you've seen the size of Buddy. I'll show you also right now on the screen the size of when they are actually hatchlings, juveniles. You'll see the difference in size there, you know, but still you'd need that good size of enclosure for them so they can actually move about there. And again, having that water bowl, a water feature, whatever you want to put into your enclosure, as long as you have there something there they can bathe, defecate, and also drink from, that's superb. So there's some pictures there. So with this video, again, shorter than the first one that I've done, but it's given you quite a bit of information there regarding the requirements of Chinese water dragons. There is a bit more to them, I would definitely do some research. Watch my video, definitely helps with my channel there, but do your research. There's so much information out there. Do your research first, because they are not a beginner pet, beginner reptile, due to the fact of the temperature requirements and humidity requirements. So please do your research. Don't just go and buy them off the cuff. Do your research first, and then you'll be fine from there, like good to go, off and running. They are a great pet to have, once you have got everything set up. Buddy has been immense to me, without him probably knowing it, although he does. I give him a lot of credit, actually. I think he's very intelligent, more than he looks, actually. He has helped me throughout the years through various situations in my life. He's been an immense support on the mental health side. So I'm a strong mental health advocate, and he has helped me through many difficult times. Great pet to have. Again, like I explained in my first video, please don't get these lovely creatures and then discard. Please give them the forever home, because that's what they truly deserve, and they will bring joy to you and your family. So please bear that in mind. Any questions you want to ask about Chinese water dragons, please feel free to ask me. As I say, I've kept them, you know, for 17 years. We've kept Buddy for 17 years. I've had other Chinese water dragons as well, along with other species. So please feel free to ask any questions. Just drop them in the comment section. Drop them in there, and I will answer any questions that you may have. As I say, I am not an expert. I'm experienced. That's the difference. I don't have any qualifications in that. I am experienced keeper. That's what I am, and it's everything that I have learned, all trial and error. We always make mistakes. You will make a mistake probably here and there, but as long as you learn from it, and then it helps going forward, superb. Right, so thank you very much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, drop us a comment. Thank you for watching this video.